What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Today we have some deck introductions for the 2008 World Championship decks that we're going to see in the next following videos. And this time around we have Empoleon, but it's actually called Empotech. It's an Empoleon, Dusknoir, Claydol deck, and the other one we have is Intimidation, which is Toxicroak, Scizor. Now this is just going to be a breakdown of these two decks. If you have no idea what these decks do, that's what we're here for. We're going to try to explain what these decks do here. And let's go over Empoleon first. As you see, there's a lot of different Pokemon here, but we're just going to go over Empoleon. It's kind of your main attacker here, and what you're going to be trying to power up every game. You have the attack Dual Splash. Choose two of your opponent's Pokemon. This attack does 30 damage to each of them, and you have Surf together. It does 50 damage, and it does plus 10 more damage for each of your bench Pokemon. Flip a coin if tails. This attack does 10 damage to each of your opponents, to each of your bench Pokemon. So 50, you can have possibility of doing 100 with 5 on the bench, which is a pretty strong attack back in the day. And the only downside is you can't do 10 damage to each of your bench Pokemon. There's some Prinplups, there's some Piplups. If you want to read them, I'll have the link down below to these exact deck lists, or to where you can see this deck list at. We have a Dusknoir line here. We have a 1/1 Dusknoir. Let's go over Dusknoir real quick. It was a pretty cool card. We're just going to be using Dark Palm here. Do we have the capability? I mean, we could use Hard Feelings, but we're going to use Dark Palm here. Once during your turn, before you attack, if your opponent has 4 or more bench Pokemon, you may choose one of them and shuffle that Pokemon and all cards attached to it to his or her deck. This power can't be used if Dusknoir is affected by a special condition. Back in the day, if a Pokemon had a Pokepower or Pokebody, if they were affected by a special condition, it didn't count. I kind of wish that was still around with abilities, but it's not. But it's a pretty strong attack. If they have 4 or more, you could just pick one to put in their deck and like, are you sending them that Pokemon? No, you're not. Not anymore. We're going to Dark Palm in there. So if your opponent made a mistake by putting down too many Pokemon, you can punish them by getting a Dusknoir out and dark palming their good Pokemon away and making it where maybe they only have Tech Pokemon on the field, maybe like some Claydolls and stuff like that, and not actually have any attackers. And you could use Hard Feelings, like I said, put 5 damage counters on the defending Pokemon, then count the number of prize cards your opponent has taken, and put that many damage counters on the defending Pokemon, which is a pretty cool attack. It might be a late game attack if you need to use it. And next up we have a 2/3 Claydol. I've seen this a lot. We skipped chat out. We'll go over here in a second. Can't go over chat out here. But Claydol, what kind of artwork is this? Why is it like spelled like that? What language is this? Let me know. But Claydol is probably one of the best ability cards, probably one of the best setup cards we've seen ever in this game. Once during your turn before you attack, you may choose up to 2 cards from your hand and put them onto your bottom of your deck. If you do, draw cards until you have 6 cards in your hand. Once again, it can't be used if Claydol is affected by a special condition. So this way, you're drawing through your deck every turn, and if you have 2 Claydolls, you can use 2 Cosmic Powers. If you have 3, you can use 3 Cosmic Powers, but using 2 during your turn was pretty strong, you know. Cosmic Power, put 2 on the bottom of your deck, draw cards, you have 6. And if you didn't draw anything you need, you can just put 2 more on the bottom of your deck, draw, and you have 6 if you have 2 count, or if you have 2 out, which is a pretty cool thing that Claydol was out there for, and I really love that card. Kind of wish they would reprint it. But here we have Chat Out. Sorry, we skipped it. But Chat Out's a pretty good setup card here. It has a Mimic, and as you notice, it has a colorless, or it has a no energy attack. I was going to say colorless, but it's no energy. Mimic says shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw a number of cards equal to the number of cards in your opponent's hand. So basically, it's kind of you just copy how many cards your opponent has in their hand. And you could use Chatter 20, and the defending Pokemon can't retreat during your opponent's next turn. Maybe you can bring up a certain kind of Pokemon, maybe Warp Point a Pokemon up there, and Chatter, and make it where it's locked, and your opponent has to play a switch to actually get it out of the active spot, which could be pretty strong. But for the most part, we're going to use Mimic here just to refill our hand. Next up, we have Holland's Castform. If you'll let me click on it, there it goes. Now, Holland Castform is a pretty neat card here. We've seen it in multiple of these decks. It has Delta Draw, not that strong in this deck because we don't play Delta Pokemon. Count the number of Pokemon you haven't played that has Delta on its card and drop that many cards. But like I said, we don't really have any Delta Pokemon here. But this little text underneath it, I'm not really sure what it's called here. You may attach as an energy card from your hand to one of your Pokemon that already has an energy card attached to it. When you attach this card, return an energy card attached to that Pokemon to your hand. while attached this card is a special energy card and provides every type of energy, but 2 energy at a time. Has no effect other than providing energy, which is a pretty cool thing you could do here. So, like it says, if your Pokemon already has energy on it, let's say they have a lightning energy, and your opponent needs, if your Pokemon needs a lightning and a colorless, now you can put a cast form on it. You remove that lightning energy, and you put the Holland's cast form on it instead, and now it's basically 2 lightning energies, which is a pretty cool effect that it could have there. And I really like Holland cast form a lot. It has a really cool effect. Once again, I'm not really sure what this is called underneath it. I'm pretty sure it has some kind of special name on it, but I can't remember at this time right now. So now we have a Tauros here. And Tauros is used for its Poke Power. Once dirty turn, when you put Tauros from your hand onto your bench, you may discard a Stadium card in play. And you might be thinking, why is that such a big deal? Why is discarding a Stadium card such a big deal in this format? But we'll go over that in a later, why Tauros is so strong here. And you could use Call for Family, search deck for 2 basic Pokemon, put them into your bench, shuffle your deck afterwards, or Horn Attack for 20. But the main thing here is we're going to use Crush Chance to discard some Stadium cards. And then we have 1 Mew Star in the deck. I'm not really sure why he played this card. I mean, I know it's attack, but I don't see the reasoning behind it. Mimicry, choose an attack on one of your opponent's Pokemon in play. Mimicry copies that attack. This attack does nothing if Mew doesn't have the necessary energies to use the attack. You must still do anything else required for the attack. Mew Star performs that attack. So basically, you need the necessary energy, and if it says you have to do something, you have to do that for the attack, which is pretty cool there. Or not, I mean, it's a pretty cool effect, but it kind of stinks when you have to use it. Maybe it says, like, you have to discard an energy or something like that. But, I mean, copying an attack could be fairly strong. I'm just not really sure what attack he was going after. I didn't play that much back in 2008. So maybe if y'all know what it is, you can leave that down in the comments down below. And it has Rainbow Wave. Choose 1 basic energy card attached to Mew Star. This tag does 20 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon that is the same type as the basic energy card that you choose. So all you're really going to play is maybe discard a water energy, and you can do 20 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon that is a water type. You do play like Scramble energies, something like that. I wonder if you can use that to pick any kind of card. But like I said, I'm not really sure why I'm using here. But that's all the Pokemon in here. It's kind of a lot of Pokemon. We're at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 23 if I count it right. That is a lot. Now let's go over the supporters and trainers. So you have 2 Bebe Search. We've seen this in a couple of our videos now. Choose a card from your hand and put it on top of your deck. Search your deck for a Pokemon. Show it to your opponent. Put it in your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards. So basically, you can put any card in there and then grab any Pokemon you want, which is a pretty strong effect. Once again, I kind of miss this card. It's a very good setup card, especially now with Vileplume coming out. We need some way to search out Pokemon besides Ultra Ball and Level Balls. Next up is Castaway. Search your deck for a supporter card, a Pokemon tool card, and a basic energy. Now, getting a tool back in the day was pretty strong. You had Sex Crystals, which are a pretty cool effect that you can get with Castaway, and a supporter card, so that way you knew for sure you had a supporter card and an energy to attach for your turn, which is one of the biggest things turn 1. Usually, when you go turn 1, you look at your hand, and if you don't have energy, you usually don't want to go first, because you can't play Trainer, Support, or Stadiums turn 1. If you don't have energy, you usually go second, but with Castaway, you can guarantee yourself an energy, which is a pretty strong card. Next up is Cilio's Network. I think it search your deck for a basic Pokemon or an evolution card, excluding an EX. Show it to your opponent, put it in your hand, shuffle your deck afterwards. Just another supporter card to get out of Pokemon. As you notice, there's not really any Ultra Balls in here, no Level Balls, no real way to search out Pokemon besides these supporter cards. So it might seem like it was slow, but you had Claydol and Uxie and stuff like that to help it out. I don't think Uxie was out yet, but Claydol was out, so you can play like these supporter cards, get a Pokemon out, and then use Claydol to draw until you have 6 cards in your hand. Next up is Cessation Crystal. I was talking about this a little bit earlier. Now you might be confused, why is this in the deck? Maybe it's for early game, maybe it's I'm not really sure why he has Cess Crystal in the deck either, but as long as Cessation Crystal is attached to an active Pokemon, each player's Pokemon, both yours and your opponent, can't use any Poke Powers or Poke Bodies, which is really strong back then because just shutting off all Poke Powers and Poke Bodies made you in a greater position. If your deck heavily relied on them, you can shut those down entirely. And like I said earlier, Claydol is a really broke card, and this shut it down. So I'm not really sure why he put it there. I'm pretty sure there's a good reason. But once again, I didn't play back then, so I'm not really sure why it's in there. One copycat. Really wish this card was back in here now. It's just shuffle your hand to your deck, then count the number of cards your opponent has in their hand, then draw that many cards. So your opponent has 10, 11 cards you can copycat for that many. That's why I wish this card was still here. When your Pokemon, or when your opponent plays Chorus, you can usually they net like 9 or 10 cards nowadays with Skyfield, but with Copycat you can draw as many cards as they have, which is pretty cool there. So I wish we had Copycat still in the game. One, Night Maintenance. It's just like the Super Rod we have for Expanded. Search your discard pile for 3 in any combination of Pokemon and basic energies. Show them to your opponent and shuffle them to your deck. Just get back Pokemon and energies if you need them. For Rare Candy, we know what that does here. The neat thing about Rare Candy here, though, is you can turn 1, you can turn 1 Piplup into Empoleon. You can turn 1 Piplup into Prinplup, and then next turn evolve an Empoleon, which is a pretty cool combo that Rare Candy had. Next up is Roseanne's Research, another setup supporter card that we don't really have nowadays. It's taking a second, but it says search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon or energies or combination. I know I kind of said that weird, but here it is. Search your deck for 2 in any combination of basic Pokemon and basic energy. So you can get 2 Pokemon, 2 energies, or 1 of each, and kind of help you set up that way. Like I said, turn 1, you want to attach your energy to one of your Pokemon, or basically your turn is wasting. Attaching an energy every turn is the most crucial thing about this format. Next up is Steven's Advice. I really wish this was printed instead of Steven's that we have out now. Draw a number of cards up to the number of your opponent's Pokemon to play. If you have more than 7 cards, including this one, in your hand, you can't play this card. So before you play Stevens, if you count your hand, and if you have 7 or more, you can't play it. But if you have 6 or less, you're good to go. You can draw up to 6 cards, which is pretty strong. Just drawing 6 cards straight from your deck is always really good. And I kind of wish they would have reprinted this Steven's Advice. Next up is 3 Warpoint. It's just like the Escape Rope we have now. We have 1 Windstorm. Now this is going to discard up to 2 combination of tools and stadium cards. It says it kind of works the same way as Tool Scrapper, but you can discard stadium cards too. It's up to 2 combination of tools and stadium cards. Usually you're going to discard a Cess Crystal, the active, and a, what's that stadium? I forgot already. Cessation, no, Crystal Beach, there we go. To discard a Crystal Beach and Cessation Crystal with the Windstorm, which is pretty strong here. We got, and that's all the trainer supported stadiums. So now we're going to go to energies. We have 3 Call Energy, which is a pretty strong card that we had back in the day to help you set up even more. Like I said earlier, we really didn't have any Ultra Balls or Level Balls to search for Pokemon, and this is where Call Energy kind of helped out here. Call Energy provides a colorless energy. Once during your turn, if Call Energy is attached to active Pokemon, you may search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon and put them onto your bench. So basically, this is going to help you set up. It's going to help you get a lot of basic Pokemon out into play, and combine this with Celio's Network or Roseanne's or Bebe's, you can get up to 3 Pokemon on play turn 1, which is really strong. Next up is DRE, that's what we call it, but it's a double Rainbow Energy. Oops, I accidentally clicked it instead of right-clicking it. But double Rainbow Energy can be attached to only an evolved Pokemon. While on play, DRE provides every type of energy, but provides 2 of those. Damage done to your opponent's Pokemon by DRE is attached to is reduced by 10. So basically, you do 10 damage less when a DRE is attached to your Pokemon. When the Pokemon DRE is attached to is no longer an evolved Pokemon, you have to discard this energy, which is a downside. There were some decks that could de-evolve Pokemon, but you don't have to really worry about that in this matchup, so we're good to go with this DRE. There's only 1, if I remember correctly. It's kind of just in case you get down, or you're like going behind in prizes, maybe need to hurry up and set up an Empoleon, maybe do some quick knockouts, so you can attach a DRE. Next up is Scramble Energy. We got 3 of those, so let's pull that card up real quick. Scramble Energy says, can be only attached to an evolved Pokemon. Scramble Energy provides colorless energy while in play. If you have more prize cards left than your opponent, Scramble Energy provides every type of energy, but provides only 3 in combination at a time. If the Pokemon Scramble Energy is attached to isn't evolved, Pokemon discard Scramble Energy. So basically, if you're down on prizes, you can attach a Scramble Energy and make it count as 3 water energies and start going crazy with Empoleon. This deck is a little bit slower. Your Pip-Ups are going to get knocked out while your opponent is setting up. And that's where this Scramble Energy shines, just in case that does happen, which is pretty cool. And then next up is just 6 Water Energy to power up your Empoleon. So once again, Empoleon is your main attacker here, and it's going to use the second attack fairly a lot. You could use your first one to set up, but you're going to do Surf together 50. It does 10 for each more bench Pokemon you have, so up to 50 more. So 100. Flip coin if Tails attack does 10 damage to each of your bench Pokemon. And Dual Splash 30 to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon to play. Alright, so that's Info Tech. It was piloted by Dylan LeFavor, who won the Senior Championship. And once again, if you want to read more about this deck and some of these other cards, I'll leave the link down below to Bubblepedia, which has all the deck lists, which is a very, very good website. Check it out if you've never heard of it. So next up, we have Intimidation. Now, we're not going to go over all the trainer supporters. If we've been over them, we're not going to go over them. You know what they do now. But let's go over the deck real quick. We have Krogon here. And this deck has 2 main attackers. It depends on that Krogon. Toxicroak, there we go. It has 2 main attackers, Toxicroak and Scizor. And just because they were single energy attackers that were really good here, we have Paralyzed Poison. The defending Pokemon is automatically poisoned, and Flip a Coin if has, the defending Pokemon is also paralyzed and poisoned, which is pretty strong there. If you can flip a has and your opponent ran out of warp points or switches, you can easily just win the game by just continuous flipping heads if you're feeling lucky there. And just 1 energy for 30 is fairly strong there, and combine this with other cards in the deck, you can easily take down some big name decks. Next up is Scizor. Now, Scizor was a good card if your opponent plays Special Energies, and it has another 1 energy attack. Special Blow, 30 damage. If the defending Pokemon has any Special Energies cards attached to it, this attack does 30 more damage plus 50 more damage. Or 30 damage plus 50 more damage, so up to 80 damage total for just a single Metal Energy, which is really strong back then, and made it where your opponent had to play fairly careful, so that way you wouldn't knock him out. Next up was Scizor. Flip a coin if has. This attack does 50 damage plus 40 more damage, so 90 damage. And if you hit him early with a 30, that's 120 total. You can knock out some Pokemon pretty quickly there. And that's your 2 main attackers there. Just fairly simple, 1 energy attackers. Scizor for special energy, Toxicroak for about everything else. So we have 1 Voltorb, 1 Electrode. Let's go over Electrode here. Now, Electrode was actually added to help beat Empoleon. Once during a turn, if Electrode will be knocked out by damage from an attack, you may use his power. Electrode isn't discard. Instead, attach it as an energy card to one of your Pokemon. While attached, this card is a special energy card. It provides every type of energy, but only provides 1 energy at a time. But the main attack here is going to be Iron Blast. Well, I mean, Energy Shift is a really good attack, don't get me wrong. Not playing it down. Electrode is, you use it to knock on a Empoleon, they knock you out. Now you can use them as an energy, which is pretty cool there. But his attack is really good here, too. You may do 40 damage plus 60 more damage. If you do, Electrode does 100 damage to itself. So 40, then 60. Empoleon has a plus 30 weakness, if I remember correctly, which one-shots it, and your Electrode gets knocked out, but now you're knocking out their only Empoleon, which probably has 3 energies on it, and you can start swinging the game there, and now you can use Electrode as an energy. You do knock yourself out, and your opponent does take a price, but you do slow your opponent down some, because you just took down their only Empoleon with a bunch of energies on it, usually, for the most part, which is pretty cool there. We have 1 Sableye here. Now, Sableye has a pretty cool attack here. Disable 10 damage. Choose one of the defending Pokemon's attacks. That Pokemon can't use the attack during your opponent's next turn. So if you knew your opponent only had they only had 1 energy and they needed 3 energies, and you knew they didn't have energy in hand for some reason, or maybe they didn't have energy last turn and they have an Empoleon out with no energies, and you knew that the only way they can attack next turn is with their first attack, you can disable their first attack, making it where they can't attack with it, and they have to retreat to actually attack with something else. And you could use Excavate here once during your turn before you attack. You may look at the top card of your deck, put that card on top of your deck, or discard that card. This power can't be used if Sableye is affected by a special condition. And this can help you thin your deck out. If you use Excavate and you see, oh, this is a supporter card I don't need, you can just discard it automatically, which is pretty cool there with Sableye. Alright, we've seen Castaway, we've seen Stelios, we've seen Steven's Advice, we've seen Roseanne's. Let's go to Scott here, their next supporter card that we haven't seen yet. Search your deck for up to 3 cards in any combination of supporter cards and stadium cards. Show them to your opponent, put them in your hand, shuffle your deck afterwards. Now this is a really good card because stadium cards are your biggest thing in this deck and help you shut down a lot of decks here. And also just getting supporter cards, just getting whatever you want next turn. Maybe you need a Stelios, maybe you need maybe a Castaway to get some trainers next turn. You can get 3 of them. So you can get 1 Castaway, you can get 1 Stelios, 1 Steven's Advice, and you'll be ready to go next turn for sure, which is why Scott was a really strong card in this deck. Now, I've been talking about stadium cards a lot, and let's go over probably one of the best stadium cards ever printed, and this is Crystal Beach here. Each special energy that provides 2 or more energy, both yours and your opponent's, now provides only 1 energy. So this deck is infected by Pokemon powers or Pokebodies. So, now your opponent, okay, the Empoleon deck had a DRE and a Scramble energy, which provides 2 or more energies. So now they only provide 1, and this is why Tauros was so big in the other deck, because you get Tauros, discard, you can discard a DRE, you can discard the Crystal Beach and make your DREs or Scramble energies actually work, which is pretty strong there. But once you get the Crystal Beach out, you're shutting down your opponent's special energies, and with a a Cessation Crystal, you're shutting down their abilities. So not only you shut down their special energy, you're shutting down their abilities, or Poke Powers and Poke Bodies, there we go. And you're slowing them down fairly a lot, which is pretty good for this deck. And next up we have Metal. We have 1 Metal Energy, and just it's actually supposed to be, why does it say Metal? I think it's supposed to say like, I thought it was called something else, but it just says damage done to the Pokemon Metal Energy attached to is reduced by 10. If the Pokemon Metal Energy is attached to isn't metal, whenever it damages a Pokemon, reduce that damage by 10. Wait, what? Okay. Let's see here. Damage done by attacks to this Pokemon that Metal Energy is attached to is reduced by 10. Ignore this effect if that Pokemon that Metal Energy attached to isn't metal. Metal Energy provides Metal Energy, doesn't count as a basic energy card. So basically it reduces by 10. If it wasn't a metal Pokemon, it doesn't reduce by 10, but it still counts as metal energy on the Pokemon. I kind of wish we'd have this nowadays with Shield Energy and Wonder Energies, because you can only attach those to like metal and fairy Pokemon and stuff like that. But back in the day, you could attach them to anybody you want to, but now you can't anymore, which kind of stinks. Next up is 4 Multi Energy, which is a pretty strong card. In this deck here, it counts as any energy, so it's kind of like a rainbow, but you don't put 10 damage on your Pokemon, and you're only allowed to have 1 special energy on that Pokemon. Attach multi-energy to one of your Pokemon while in play. Multi-energy provides every type of energy, but only provides 1 energy at a time. Multi-energy provides colors energy when attached to a Pokemon that already has special energy cards attached to it. So basically what you do here is you attach a multi-energy, which counts as anything, and then maybe you can attach a Psychic or a Lightning or a Metal, whatever you had in your hand, just kind of combo with multi-energy, so that way they'll count for sure. And then next up we have 4 Psychic for Toxicroak, 1 Lightning Energy for Electrode, and 3 Metal for Scizor. And then with 4 multi-energy, and Toxicroak and Scizor only need 1 energy, you had multiple options to power up these Pokemon in 2 turns. And that's why the deck was so strong. Within 2 turns, you're doing heavy damage to Pokemon. And if they attach a special energy, you have Scizor to do a lot of damage to it, and you can shut down their special energies with Crystal Beach. And not only that, you can shut down their Poke Powers and Poke Bodies with Cessation Crystal, which is really strong there. Now remember, Cessation Crystal only works when it's attached to the active Pokemon, not any on the bench. So it has to be on the active. And like I said earlier, when your opponent plays Windstorm, they're usually going to knock off the Cessation Crystal on the active Pokemon and a Crystal Beach. And that way they can use their special energy cards, and they can use their Poke Powers and Poke Bodies. Or abilities of bodies, there we go. Sorry about that. But hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you learned something new about these decks. They're very exciting decks, and they're really fun to play. And I really do like these decks a lot. I really do like the Scizor Toxicroak deck, just because it shuts down your opponent altogether, just with the Crystal Beach and Cessation Crystal, which I like a lot. But hopefully you enjoyed this video, and here you'll see, here in a second you can see a game with these 2 decks, Empoleon versus Toxicroak Scizor, and for the next 2 weeks you'll see a game each of one of these. It's the best 2 out of 3 against me and Kenton once again, but I hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Alrighty, bye.